Hey Valley Metal, welcome back to another G67 math video. Tonight we're going to be combining like terms and solving two-step equations. First, let's get started off with the trivia question. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? He's an Irishman, I'll tell you that much. See if you can recognize that guy. All right, tonight I can combine like terms and solve two-steppers. Let's do this thing. How would you go about solving this equation? Well, it looks kind of complicated at first. A lot of things going on there. But if you kind of follow these general steps, look for, do you have to use the distributive property? And in this case, we don't. Can you combine any like terms? Then can you add and subtract? If you kind of follow these along with me, we'll work through it and we'll get through this in no time whatsoever with no problem. So we don't need to use the distributive property, but we can combine some things. We've got a 1x here and we've got a 4x here. So if we combine those guys, we will have 5x minus 5 equals 10. So we've simplified it a little bit. Now, can we add or subtract? Yeah, we can add 5 to this side and to this side, and we can get rid of this. We're working towards isolating that variable. So we do that. Go ahead and add 5 to both sides. Now, these 5, sorry about that, these 5's here cancel out. And you have 10 plus 5 over here. Now you've isolated the variable further. Now you've got 5x equals 10 plus 5, or 15. Now this is a multiplication equation. To undo a multiplication equation, you divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. These 5's cancel out. And now you've isolated the variable down to x equal 15 divided by 5, which is 3. You can plug that in to your equation, your original equation. I put the 3 where the x is the value, and see if it works. 3 minus 5 is a negative 2. Now 4 times 3 is 12. So we have a negative 2 plus a positive 12. Yeah, that equals 10. And we've checked it out and we're ready to move on. All right, there's our first equation. Let's go ahead and take a look at some vocabulary, just kind of a review. Remember, a two-step equation contains two operations. You got to undo them in reverse order. Distributive property, A times B plus C is really the same as AB plus AC. A term, these are all terms. 3A, 2Y, all different terms. They're separated by a plus or minus symbol. Now, a coefficient is the number in front of a variable like this. 3a, that's a coefficient, is 3. 3e, 2x, 3x, all of those numbers are coefficients. All of the letters, those are variables. They're both 3 and a together make a term, okay? Now, the constants are the numbers without any variables. This one here, 2, this is a constant. 5 is a constant. Negative 1 or minus 1 is a constant. All right, and then like terms are things like 3x and 2x, terms that we can add together and make 5x. So let's just start right here. We don't have a distributive property, but we can combine some like terms here because we have a 3D and a 2D, and minus 3D to be exact, and a minus 2D. Well, if we add that together, we have a minus 5D. Now we're looking, can we add or subtract to simplify? Sure. Well, we can add 1 and get rid of this 1 on this side, but we have to add to both sides. So we add 1 to this side and add 1 to that side. These 1's will cross off because it's a minus 1 and a plus 1. We're left with minus 5d equals 15. Now it's a multiplication equation, and we're going to go ahead and undo that multiplication by division. So we're going to divide by a negative 5, because a negative divided by a negative will give us a positive d, and that's what we want. So we'll divide by a negative 5. These guys cross each other out. We end up with d equals 15 divided by a negative 5, which is a negative 3. All right? Well, this was a little more complicated to pop in, but I did it. I just took and popped in the negative 3's where those d's were. So I have a negative 3 times a negative 3. That's positive 9. A negative 2 times a negative 3, that's positive 6. Pop it in, we got 9 plus 6 is 15, minus 1, 14. Our answer checked out, we can be sure that we got it correct, and we've solved that equation. We've combined terms and solved it. Let's do a couple more, I'm going to go a little bit faster with you. We have 14p minus 9 plus 6p plus 1 equals 32. Can you see a couple of different areas where we can combine things? I can. take a look at them. Does that help? All right, so we have a 14p and a 6p. That's going to equal a total of 20 p's. And then we've got a -9 and a +1, so that's a -8. So we have 20p minus 8 equals 32. Well, now we can add or subtract. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. These 8s will, of course, cross out, +8 and -8. We're left with 20p equals 40. Now, this is multiplication, so we're going to divide to isolate that p further. So we'll divide both sides of the equation by 20. This one here, these guys cross off. Now you've got p is equal to 40 divided by 20, which is 2. See if I can't go ahead and pop that into that equation down here real quick and show you that I did check my work. Took a little bit of work this time because there was a lot of adding. So multiplied and I got 28. I multiplied and I got 12. So I had 28 minus 9 plus 12 plus 1 is 32. These guys became 19 plus 12 plus 1 is 32. 31. 19 and 12 is 31 plus 1 is 32. The answer checks out. Okay, very good. Let's take a look at one more before I cut you loose. Oh no, division. Everybody hates division. I don't even like it. We can do this. It's no problem. Let's just follow the steps. Do we have the distributive property here? No, no distributive property. Do we have to combine anything? Well, I can combine the 4 and the 2. I've got a +4 and a -2. So if I combine those, I've got 2 plus 1/4 t equals 8. Well, still not sure what to do with this, but I can get rid of this 2 here. This is a +2, so I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. This guy, these guys here will cross off. Sorry, I forgot to cross those out, so either that or else they're not appearing. So I can cross these 2's out, and when I do that, I still have this side. 8 minus 2 is 6. So now I've kind of isolated this down. I've got 1/4 t equals 6. Well, this is division. In order to get rid of the division, I need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply this side by 4, and this side by 4. Now, these 4's will cross off, but over here I still have to take 6 times 4. So what I've ended up with here is I've isolated the t. I've got t is equal to 24. I can pop that into my equation. Pop it into 24, and really 1/4 to 24, really that's the same as 24 divided by 4, because I can just multiply across. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. When I simplify that, I have 4 plus 6, which is 10, minus 2 is 8. And we've solved another one. It's time for you to try one. See if we can get you trying the distributive property here. There it is. Go ahead. Pause the video and try this one. Wait, you need a little help? All right, I'll give you this. All right, let's see how you did. Okay, well, if you did use the distributive property, right, you had 3y minus 12 plus 12 equals a minus 6. Well, you can combine some like terms here. We got a plus 12 and a minus 12. These guys are just going to cross each other out, right? So now I've isolated this down to 3y equals a minus 6. So, well, that's a multiplication, so I can divide by 3 to isolate that a little bit further. These guys will cross off, leaving me with just y is equal to -6 divided by 3, which is a -2. Pop that in. You can see that the answer checks out. All right, let's have you try another one. Go ahead and give this guy a shot. All right, let's see how you did. Did you combine like terms? You did. You had minus 10x plus 8 equals 38. Okay, did you subtract 8 from both sides? If you did, you got it down to minus 10x equals 30. Then you should have divided by a -10 next. That'll isolate that x. Now it's, a negative divided by a negative is going to leave me with a positive x. But 30 divided by a -10 is a -3. Super. Super. Pop it in. You can see that your answer checks out. All right, let's have you try one more here. Go ahead. All right, let's see how you did. I'm going to put my arrows for my distributive property in first. So if you did this right, you'd have minus 12t plus 3 equals 30. Looks like there's some like terms you can combine here. You got a -9 and a +3. I can change that to a -6 minus 12t equals 30. Now you can add 6 to both sides. These bad boys will cross off. Looks like you're going to have a -12t equals 36. You're going to divide by -12 on both sides here. Now you've isolated the t. You've got t is equal to 36 divided by a -12, which is a -3. Pop it in, and your answer checks out. All right, you guys are ready for the ticket to the show. Here you go. These two problems: combine like terms and solve these two-step equations. All right, time for the ticket to the show. Who is this guy? This guy's my dad, John Dudley. He was just an amazing boxer. This is here, I'll just show you the headline. He was an amazing boxer, and so I've got a good story for you. He went down to, he was the middleweight champion of the Golden Gloves for the state of Minnesota, and he went to fight in a tournament in Iowa to compete for the state championship there, the Golden Gloves title. He got down there and he found out that he couldn't hold a title in Minnesota and Iowa. So they changed his name. They gave him this name, Jack Murphy. I thought it was a story. Look what I found. He died this past winter, and look what we found in the when I was cleaning out his room. Jack Murphy of Farmington, who learned his boxing under former middleweight champion Tony Zale in the Navy, carried off the middleweight crown. Murphy knocked out Jack Patterson of Des Moines in the title bout. The champ's body attack softened up Patterson, and he ended the match in the second with a right to the head. So my dad was quite a boxer, so he held the middleweight champion of Iowa under the name of Jack Murphy. All right. And my dad was very proud of his grandkids. So there's him with the grandkids and me. Still fighting at age 90. Anyway, this one was for you, Dad. I miss you. Have a great evening, folks. Bye.